The story began as I was drifting in an infinite space. I didn't understand what was happening at all. The only thing I remembered was a beam of light engulfing me. Suddenly, I found myself in an unfamiliar place. A goddess stood before me and said, "Welcome to the world of Midgard. You have been summoned as one of the chosen heroes." She introduced herself. Her name is Norn. But then Norn apologized. "I'm very sorry. You were summoned by mistake. We were supposed to bring other people here." I stared blankly, not understanding what she was saying. She explained, "Let me explain more clearly. We randomly select a group of heroes to bring them to the world of Midgard, but you are not among the chosen ones. The system encountered an error and brought you here by mistake. This summoning ritual is very dangerous because the laws of our world are different from your Earth. Any mistaken summoning can destroy the entire city of Midgard. That is why, when I saw you were summoned by mistake, I brought you here to fix the situation." I asked, "Then where are the heroes summoned with me?" She replied, "The correctly summoned heroes are currently in the Sidonia Empire." I said, "Then can you send me back to my world?" She sadly replied, "I cannot send you back." She seemed annoyed. "The system chooses people randomly, and it keeps making mistakes." I asked, "Then what should I do to solve this problem? What should I do?" She replied, "The only way is for you to adapt and live here, in the world of Midgard. But we cannot send you to the Sidonia Empire, because that place is currently very chaotic. Therefore, I will use my magic to take you to a peaceful place, a place where you can start a new life. It will be a wonderful world for you to enjoy." I asked, "Does that world have demons, monsters, and dragons?" She smiled softly. "Yes, but don't worry, I will help you with my magic." At that moment, I saw my stats in this world. I'm only 17, but I have no skills. Norn explained, "You have two choices, combat skills or production skills. Combat skills include swordsman, mage, archer, and hunter. Production skills include herbalist, alchemist, and farmer." I shook my head. "I don't want combat skills. I don't want trouble. Give me production skills." Norn focused her magic and granted me the abilities. "Use them well. They will help you survive in this world." Then, she took me to a place called Asgard to begin my journey. When I arrived in the new world, I looked down at the water. My appearance had changed completely. I opened the bag I was carrying. Inside, I found tools, a knife, food, and some money to buy necessities. I checked my skills. I'm still level 1, but now I have skills that can be useful. These are the skills Norn granted me as an apology for the summoning error. I muttered to myself, "Let me try these powers out." I tried fire magic but hesitated, afraid of burning down the forest. So I tried water magic, then wind, then stone spells. My eyes lit up with joy. These new skills made me feel truly alive. The woman slowly revealed her face and introduced herself. "I am the first empress of the Sidonia Empire. My name is Elizabeth." The young girl in the group kept staring at Elizabeth, her eyes trembling with fear. Suddenly, a notification appeared. She had received a new skill, Mystic Revelation. Looking directly at the empress, she nervously stammered, "She is very dangerous. We cannot trust her." The scene shifted to me, who had just arrived in the village of Berg. The villagers welcomed me warmly, thanking me for saving their daughter. They said, "You are truly a kind person. How fortunate that our daughter met you on her way." I nodded, grateful for their kindness. I asked if I could stay in the village for a while. The villagers smiled and replied, "Of course, make yourself at home. Our village is your home too." They told me about the many herbs growing around the village, essential for making medicine, and about the raw materials scattered everywhere. Hearing this, my eyes lit up with excitement. After all, I chose the path of production skills. Immediately after, I was introduced to Boone, the village blacksmith, who would supply me with raw materials. The villagers admitted that there were no houses at the moment, but they suggested building a new house just for me. They showed me a small piece of land where a house could be built. "Let me help a little," I said. Using my magic, I cleared the land, but suddenly, I felt exhausted. Clearing the land had drained almost all my mana. However, at that moment, I acquired a new skill, mana control. The villagers rushed to check on me. "You've done enough! Leave the rest to us." Finally, I built my own house and equipped it with all the necessary things. This was all thanks to the crafting and blacksmithing magic I learned. When I opened my skill list, I noticed I still had the warrior and fighter skills. I decided to switch them and try the alchemy skill. I wanted to experiment with the raw materials Boone had given me. I went to the alchemy table with iron, copper, and silver ore. Using alchemy, magic, combining, and decomposing, I began my experiments. With great enthusiasm, my efforts created the first ingot. a notification appeared. I had acquired the alchemy skill. I poured all my energy into it, forging from one moment to the next with all my mana. But when Molly came to check on me, she found me slumped on the ground. For a moment, she thought I had exhausted myself to death. The villagers cried out in dismay. I had consumed too much mana, only to create an ingot. They quickly gave me a potion to restore my strength. After that, as I continued my alchemy work, the villagers sat behind me, carefully observing to ensure I didn't exhaust myself again. I successfully produced various ingots: iron, copper, gold, and silver. Afterward, I worked with Boone, using my fire magic to help the blacksmith forge powerful weapons. My alchemy and blacksmithing skills had improved impressively. Afterward, I went to Molly's father and asked for one of the healing potions I had received earlier. I wanted to craft a potion myself through alchemy. Taking a sample, I returned home and tried to recreate it, but when the medicine was completed, its color was completely different. To my surprise, I realized the reason: I used water magic in the process. That's why its shape changed. Then, I went into the forest to pick herbs, but after tasting a little, my body suddenly became stiff. I couldn't move. I was paralyzed. Quickly, I chanted a healing spell on myself. The magic worked, and at the same time, I gained 2 new skills: poison resistance and paralysis immunity. As I stood up, a giant steel-plated forest boar appeared behind me, ready to attack. Trembling, I gripped my spear. I threw my dagger, but it bounced off. I charged with my spear, but it broke in half. Fortunately, I managed to dodge the beast's attack. There was no other choice. I will try using magic. I unleashed water magic, then wind, then my powerful stone magic. But nothing injured the monster. Then a stronger blow landed. Behind me, a venomous spider appeared. I froze. I'm surrounded. Is this where I die? But the spider looked injured. The steel-plated forest boar roared and charged at me. But just then, the spider jumped onto the beast's face, shielding me from the charging attack. The boar angrily flung the spider away and turned back to me. With no other choice, I activated my alchemy skill. The boar charged once more. I leaped into the air, using disintegration magic on its body. In an instant, the steel beast collapsed. Panting, I muttered, "I'm still alive." I quickly went to the spider and healed its wounds with magic. A notification appeared. I have acquired the taming skill. Immediately, I felt the spider's emotions. It had bonded with me, wanting to be by my side. A voice echoed in my head. "Take me with you, Takumi. I really like you." On its back was a mark that looked like a leaf. I smiled. "I will give you a suitable name. From the leaf on your back, I will call you Kaid." The spider seemed satisfied. Miraculously, its body began to evolve, growing larger, and its broken leg healed completely. When I returned to the village, everyone was astonished. I had slain a wild boar made of steel, and on my back was a giant panther. "You brought back a venomous panther. Aren't you afraid?" they asked. "Calm down," I replied. "This panther is very docile. I tamed it with magic. It's now my companion." This is the first time anyone in our village has used taming magic, the villagers said in awe. "Let's throw a grand feast with the wild boar." They gathered and feasted until they were drunk. During the feast, the villagers said to me, "Why don't you take the wild boar's hide and sell it in the city? It's worth a fortune." The best place to do that is Bolton, the nearest large city. Meanwhile, Kaidi was happily playing with the children. The whole village rejoiced at my presence. "Our village has changed a lot thanks to you," they whispered. "But surely you won't stay here forever. With all those skills, you were born to do greater things." Elsewhere, a girl gazed out the window, lost in thought, though no one knew why. And elsewhere, the goddess Norn watched me from afar, realizing that I had begun to adapt to this world and was effectively using my skills. The next morning, I woke up to find myself entangled in Kaede's silk, floating in the middle of the bed. "What are you doing? Apologize right now," I shouted. "You've neglected me all this time. You don't care about me at all," Kaede complained. "I'm sorry," I sighed. "I'll spend time playing with you." The panther joyfully jumped onto me, even as I was still wrapped in its silk. Just then, a woman from the village entered with food. She chuckled when she saw this scene. Panicked, I cried out, "Don't misunderstand. We were just playing." After that, the villagers turned Katie's silk into clothes. "Clothes made from panther silk sell very well," they told me. Only the gentry in the city can afford them. Before long, they gathered more silk to produce exquisite clothing. I tried to warn them. No one can communicate with it. It won't understand what you're saying. But surprisingly, Kaede understood very well, handing the villagers all the silk they requested. When I asked it to play later, the spider turned its back and coldly said, "I'm busy now. I still have things to do." Afterwards, I visited blacksmith Boone, who crafted me a sturdy suit of armor to wear whenever I ventured into the forest. Some villagers said to me, "If you truly want to pursue production, our village won't be enough for you. Resources here are scarce. You must go to the city, where there are more opportunities. Next week, a great merchant from Bolton will arrive. We will ask him to take you there." As I was leaving, I happened to meet a young woman named Martha, carrying a rejected piece of cloth to discard. Quickly, I recited a cleansing spell, purifying the cloth of parasites and rot, restoring it to an edible state. Martha was astonished. "Child, do you have purification magic? Anyone with that ability can earn a fortune. But don't tell anyone about this skill once you reach the city, or they will try to take advantage of you." Before leaving, I erected a protective fence around the entire village, ensuring it was safe from any monster attacks. When the merchant Papek finally arrived, he was stunned to see such a massive wall protecting the small settlement. The villagers introduced me. "This is the person who will take you to Bolton." Before I left, I gave the villagers 100 bottles of medicine I personally brewed. I made these 100 bottles for everyone. Use them whenever needed. Papek was shocked by their purity. Then, the villagers gifted me clothing woven from Kaede silk. After our farewells, I set off for the city of Bolton. Inside the carriage, I met 3 S-rank adventurers, famous by the name of Lionfang. They were hired to protect Papek from bandits and monsters along the way. One of them tried to tease Kaede, and it jumped straight at his face. However, shortly after, the spider felt comfortable with another adventurer and even curled up to sleep beside him. Throughout the journey, Papek spoke to me. "I want you to make me some healing potions, like the ones you gave the villagers. I will pay you handsomely." But suddenly, the carriage stopped. In front of us was a group of goblins blocking the path. The 3 adventurers sprang into action, easily defeating them. After the battle, they looted the bodies and collected monster parts to sell at the guild later. 3 days later, I finally arrived in Bolton. The city's scale and bustling commerce overwhelmed me. This is the perfect place to start my real work, I thought. But first I need to register with the Adventurers Guild if I want to stay here. I went straight to the guild and signed up, then met Papek again. I gave him one of my potions, and his eyes widened in admiration. Perfect quality. To my surprise, the price for such a potion was extremely high. "I will prepare a place for you," Papek told me. "A place where you can brew these potions in large quantities." He ordered his servant to take me to a new house. When I arrived, I was horrified. The house was huge, but the rent was cheap. "Are you sure this place isn't haunted? Is that why you're renting it to me so cheaply?" I asked, half joking, half serious. Next to the house, I found a small workshop. I smiled wryly. This is the perfect place for me to work. As I walked with Papek's servant through the streets, a foul stench wafted up. I covered my nose. The servant explained, "The city's sewage system is completely broken. The nobles only use purification magic for their feasts. They don't care about the rest of the city." I frowned. "So that's it. I can use purification magic to fix the sewage system." The idea flashed in my mind. My first thought was to create something simple, a mat. Focusing my mana, I combined fire and light magic and created my first sphere. That effort drained all my mana, but in the end, I brought it home and installed it in my new house. While I was at home, I suddenly heard Papek screaming. Rushing to the door, I saw Kaede had wrapped the merchant tightly and pinned him to the door. After freeing us, Papek asked to use the restroom, and then excitedly examined the new device. "What is this?" he asked in shock. I calmly explained. "It's a magical toilet. When you use it, the magical devices inside will decompose waste and prevent the stench that plagues this city." Papek was amazed. "You mean you used light magic to create this? Unbelievable! I want 100 of these. No, more than that. I'll sell them and become rich." "But how can I create 100 by myself? I live alone in this house, with no one to help." "Then the answer is simple," Papek said. "Hire servants. Let them handle the housework while you focus on production." Just then, a message arrived from the Adventurers Guild. "If I don't complete a quest within a month, I'll starve." I panicked. How can I handle the guild's quest and mass production by myself? Pepek crossed his arms. You have no other choice. You need a servant. He took me to a company called Mulan, which specialized in trading servants. As we walked through the garden, an elf girl mocked me, clearly unimpressed. Disappear, you runt. Go back to your hovel. Right after that, we met Mulan, the head of the company. Pepek explained that I was looking for a servant. We have 100 people available now, Mulan said. But there are conditions. The master must protect them, provide lodging, and pay for their food. Our servants are divided into 2 types. Domestic servants, usually orphans without families, handle cooking and cleaning, and combat servants are captured soldiers trained to fight alongside their master on guild quests. I read the terms and nodded. I only need a servant to handle the housework. However, it wouldn't hurt if the servant also had some combat ability in case of emergency. In that case, the boy would definitely need 2 people. Mulan smirked. Then, she summoned a young girl. This is Maria. She will help you with chores. She is an orphan, simple and kind-hearted, with no other role than to serve. I looked at the girl suspiciously. Can you clean a large house like mine? It has over 50 rooms. With a firm nod, Maria replied, I may be young, but I am strong and capable. I can handle it. Just don't ask me to do anything immoral. Mulan sighed. Unfortunately, we do not currently have any combat servants. But Maria quickly interjected. What about Sophia? She can help him. Mulan frowned. Sophia? She's injured, unstable, and too much of a hassle to properly serve anyone. However, my intuition told me, I want to see her. I have a feeling she's the one I'm looking for. Sophia, on the other hand, was filled with worry and confusion. She couldn't understand why I would choose to contract with her and bring her home to serve me, even though she was injured and her magic sealed. When it was time for dinner, Maria was shocked to see that I had prepared the meal on their first night. Annoyed, she said, Then you don't need me here. Is it okay if you do everything yourself? Please don't do that anymore. I smiled gently. Just for tonight, to welcome both of you. From now on, do as you please. Sophia's surprise grew as I invited them to sit at the same table with me. I'm not complicated, I said. There's no difference between master and servant. The era of slavery is long gone. After that, I went to see the merchant Pepek at his company, where he had prepared the items I requested. On the way back, I took a stroll through the city before entering a temple. Inside, there was a statue of the goddess Norn, who had summoned me to this world. I stood before the statue, bowing my head in gratitude for the magical powers and support she had bestowed upon me. Just then, Norn herself appeared before me. Don't forget, Takumi, she said. Everything I've given you, all the good people you've met, doesn't mean the road ahead will be easy. The future is still full of challenges. The scene then shifted to the kingdom of Sidonia, where the king was speaking with his subjects. Is there any news about the 3 heroes summoned to our world? They are training to improve their level to protect the kingdom, one replied. At first, they were very scared and lost, but thanks to Queen Elizabeth, they calmed down and began training earnestly. The 3 heroes appeared, sweating profusely in the training ground, trying their best to improve their combat abilities, their weakness evident to all. One of them, the girl Akane, refused to participate. I don't like violence, she said bluntly, and walked away. Elizabeth followed, trying to reassure her. This is not violence. This is preparation so you can protect our world. But Akane remained unconvinced, looking at Elizabeth with a mix of fear and unease. Back home, I tripped over Kaid's hair and fell. The package I received from Pepek spilled. As Sophia reached to open it, I immediately used my magic to conceal the package in my item box, hiding its contents from her. Her suspicions grew, and she decided to follow me closely in my small workshop. Afterwards, she saw me deliberately cut my hand with a knife, and then immediately heal the wound with magic. She rushed into the room in horror. You're crazy. What do you plan to do to us? Are you planning to kill us in our sleep? Then she fainted on the spot. I quickly went to her side, placed my hand on her paralyzed arm, and cast a healing spell. My healing skills had leveled up, and I gently carried her back to bed. There, I decided to combine my healing magic with light magic to dispel the curse from her body. Slowly, her torn ear began to heal. The curse vanished, and her magical power returned bit by bit. That night, Sophia woke up in a panic and ran to Maria. Run! He's going to kill us! Maria looked at her in disbelief. Are you out of your mind? Takumi is the kindest man I've ever met. She handed Sophia a mirror. Look, your ear is already healed. He dispelled the curse from you, and your magic has returned." Trembling, Sophia hurried to my side and bowed deeply. "I'm sorry for doubting you, but please tell me, why did you injure yourself in your workshop?" I looked her straight in the eyes calmly. "I injured myself and healed it time and time again to improve my skills. I have to become stronger to clear the curse from you." Tears welled up in Sophia's eyes. "From now on, consider me your loyal servant. I will sacrifice my life for you if necessary." In the distance, Goddess Norn watched me with a warm, satisfied smile, seeing me form new bonds. Afterwards, we see me in the library, studying books on alchemy to hone my skills. To my surprise, I found this art to be much simpler than I imagined, thanks to the great magical assistance Goddess Norn bestowed upon me when I was first summoned to this world. The next morning, as I was eating breakfast, Maria giggled and teased me. "The way you and Sophia looked at each other last night, it was just like a prince and a princess." After breakfast, Sophia, Maria, and I were busy polishing the battle axes I had crafted. However, the flood of orders kept them working non-stop. Finally, I sighed, exhausted. "That's enough. No more battle axes. I'm sick of it. Let's go play in the forest." I thought about bringing Sophia along in case of monsters, but Maria's eyes welled up with tears, and she sobbed. "Are you going to leave me behind like one of your battle axes? Please, take me with you." I hesitated. "But you don't have any combat skills." However, when I checked her stats with my appraisal skill, I found they weren't bad at all. She really had potential. Sophia confidently stepped in. "If her stats are good, I'll train her myself until she improves." I led them to my workshop and asked, "Which weapon do you prefer?" Sophia answered first. "I want a sword or a sturdy spear," Maria shyly added. "I've practiced a bit with smaller weapons like knives." Immediately, I infused light magic into the steel, forging sturdy weapons for them. While I worked, Sophia began training Maria in basic weapon usage and combat. Although crafting consumed a large amount of my mana, I felt incredibly satisfied, especially after enchanting the weapons to boost their power. And I didn't stop there. I proceeded to forge sturdy armor to protect them, then gave each of them a mana-filled ring, allowing them to use magic more easily. Once we were ready, the three of us headed to the Adventurers Guild, determined to take on our first quest in the forest. As we were looking at the quest board, the usual trouble started. Arrogant adventurers pushed their way towards us, bothering Sophia and Maria. I stepped up to protect them, though my heart pounded when a large, burly man with a potbelly stood before me and sneered. "Get out of here, brat, before I use my belly to flatten you." When that man swung his fist to hit me, I activated my body enhancement skill, making my body as hard as steel. The punch landed with a clack, not on me, but on that man's own arm. It broke under the impact. A tense silence prevailed until the guild leader Gaba sternly reprimanded. "Fighting is forbidden in the guild." As he was about to punish me, a guild member stepped forward. I saw everything. The big man attacked first. Takumi was just defending himself. The crowd remained silent. I easily dodged a blow from a high-rank adventurer. Even Gaba's eyes narrowed with curiosity. "You possess great strength and magic." "That's very obvious," the guild leader said suspiciously. "But I can't promote you until you prove yourself. You will be tested with a simple mission." And so, with my first official mission in hand, Sophia, Maria, and I set off together into the unknown lands. Afterwards, you see me in the forest, where my companions and I encountered a group of goblins. We easily defeated them, but after the battle, Kaida announced that it was about to evolve. Without hesitation, I opened a time portal, allowing it to evolve peacefully and in sufficient time. As we continued on, we happened upon another scene full of goblins. My face stiffened with worry. "How did we defeat so many?" Sophia calmly replied, "We can use magic. There are no humans nearby. We won't need to lend a hand." They used the magic rings I forged, unleashing waves of magic that swept away the goblin horde in seconds. However, the short-lived joy was fleeting, as the goblin chief appeared before them, emitting a terrifying aura. As usual, fear gripped my heart. I dodged frantically, my heart pounding wildly as the monster chief charged towards me. However, with each fight, my combat level increased. Gritting my teeth, I gathered all my courage, summoned raging flames, and incinerated the creature in a decisive blow. Exhausted but triumphant, we returned to the guild hall, bringing back a haul of magical stones. The guild staff were amazed when they learned that the entire group had cleared out such a large crowd in just one day. Even Guildmaster Gaba was surprised. and immediately promoted me, Sophia, and Maria. Meanwhile, Coyote's evolution process was complete. Now, it appeared in the form of a strange, half-human, half-fairy girl. Upon returning home, Merchant Popek brought news. Governor Bolton wanted to see me. The reason, he explained, was due to my unique purification magic. When I met the city governor, I was greeted with gratitude. Thanks to the public toilets you created, sickness in Bolton has been reduced significantly. Our city is healthier than ever, and we don't know how to repay you. I modestly bowed my head. But my mind was already set on the next invention. Soon after, I unveiled a new creation, the magical refrigerator. When the first prototype was opened, a gust of cold air made the witnesses shiver. This will keep food fresh for a long time, I explained. I combined iron, nickel, and chromium through alchemy, then attached it to an enchanted item to provide cooling energy. As usual, I gave the prototype to Popek, confident it would bring immense profit. With the goal of strengthening our combat equipment, I searched for rare materials. At the guild hall, staff member Hans explained, "No blacksmith in Bolton can process these kinds of ores. They can only be found in a remote mining town, Pras, in the northern Barcola kingdom. But you can't enter the mine unless you belong to the blacksmith's guild. The only way is to join as a guard. Clear out monsters while the blacksmiths mine." I liked this idea and agreed. However, before I could leave, Guildmaster Gabba summoned me again. "I have another mission for you. We are facing a shortage of Trent wood. Most adventurers ignore it to hunt for bulls. Therefore, supply is very scarce. Since you're strong and have magical abilities, I want you to collect some on the way to Haas. In addition, there is a blacksmith who needs to be escorted there. You will act as his personal bodyguard." The guild leader smiled kindly. "I believe you can handle all these tasks at once. Succeed, and I will promote you along with your companions." I accept and ask, "How long will the journey to Haras take?" "By normal horse, it takes a week, but by wild horse, it's 4 days." Of course, I choose the wild horse, but the adventurer Ryle, who once protected Popek, intervenes. "We've already taken the wild horse carriage. It won't be available anytime soon." Instead of being annoyed, I warmly welcomed him and even invited Ryle to my home as a guest. Later, when I met Popek again, this merchant was overjoyed to see the refrigerator. "I want another one, this time for the king. I'm sure he'll be very pleased." And from afar, Sophia looked out the window, her worried expression evident on her face. "He's back too late. We shouldn't have let him go alone." As I walked with Ryle home, Ryle suddenly sensed a strong presence following them. A few moments later, a masked figure appeared before them. Since Ryle had no weapon at the time, he turned to me anxiously and said, "We have to run." But before they could move, the masked figure lunged, kicking Ryle hard and sending him to the ground. The mask fell off, revealing Sophia, who had mistaken Ryle for the culprit who kidnapped me. She was about to strike him down, but I stepped forward indignantly. "What in the world are you doing, Sophia?" Realizing her mistake, Sophia immediately apologized upon understanding that Rael was my ally. After that, Ryle came home with us, his eyes wide with disbelief at seeing Kayade, a spider that had evolved into a beautiful half-human, half-spider girl. His shock quickly turned to annoyance as he realized I lived among 3 girls while he, despite trying his best, had never been noticed by any girl. Even when he tried to strike up a conversation with Sophia and Maria, they brushed him off, choosing to stay near me instead. Determined to prepare for the upcoming journey, I began crafting new weapons. Before me was a colossal weapon that I tried to split into 2, but this weapon resisted my magic, draining a large amount of mana from me. After much futile effort, I finally succeeded in splitting it. The next morning, I met the merchant Popek to finalize preparations. Popek informed me that the person I was to protect was already waiting inside the carriage on the way to Horus. A blacksmith named Dambo sat silently inside, and so my new journey began. Meanwhile, dire reports reached the guild. The monsters in the forest had become far more ferocious and dangerous. Anxiety spread among the guild staff, fearing I might encounter beasts that were beyond my capabilities. Around that time, Popek was meeting with a high-ranking official who told him, "Word has reached Sidonia. They know someone is using light magic, and now they have him in their sights. They want him, at any cost." The film then cuts to Sidonia, where the summoned heroes continue their rigorous training, striving to become stronger. Meanwhile, I entered the forest to gather rare Trent wood. I told Dambo that I had prepared a protective shield in case monsters appeared as we ventured deeper. I asked Sophia, "How can we tell a regular tree from a Trent tree?" She replied, "They look almost identical, but if you use sensing magic, you'll be able to tell the difference." Concentrating, I quickly found a camouflaged Trent and rushed to chop it down. The tree's vines lashed out to attack me, forcing Sophia and Maria to rush to my aid. Together, we took down the first tree, but almost immediately, Sophia cried out in alarm. "We're surrounded by a whole pack of them." She warned that fighting them one by one would take too long. With no other choice, they activated the magic rings I created. In a magical language, they annihilated a series of monster plants. As the battle escalated, my combat level quickly increased. I soon faced the leader plant, slashing at its roots, only to see them regenerate endlessly. "You must attack its heart," Sophia urged. With her clearing the way with the power of the magic ring, I lunged forward, leaping high into the air. I unleashed a dual fire spell, burning the monster's core until it collapsed in a sea of flames. From the ashes, a strange fruit rolled out. "This is a magic apple," Sophia explained. "Whoever eats it will level up." Finally, we arrived at Horus, where I presented my mission to the guild, protecting the miners in the dungeon from the fierce monsters while they harvested rare ores. Into the dungeon with a pickaxe in hand, I smashed against the walls until a rare gem fell out. Beside me, Dambo spotted another vein of rare materials deeper in. But suddenly, a violent tremor shook the cavern. The ground cracked open as monsters crawled up from below. Sophia and Maria immediately drew their weapons, ready to fight. But before they could strike, I unleashed a beam of light magic. The light engulfed the cavern, blinding and disorienting the monsters. Seizing the opportunity, Sophia used her sword to decapitate them, staring in disbelief. Dambo exclaimed, "How did you do that?" "Simple," I calmly replied. "These monsters live underground, meaning they hate light. I just exploited their weakness." Although Maria complained about the long hours we spent in the dungeon, I persisted until we finally returned to Bolton. There, I went to Dambo's workshop, where I learned the basics of ores and fusion. Using the rare materials we gathered, I crafted powerful weapons and armor. For myself, I created a magic armor that granted me incredible speed. Though it was my first time trying it, I lost control and crashed straight into a wall. I also forged sure blades for Sophia and Maria, helping them become stronger in battle. With gratitude, Sophia turned to me with shining eyes. "From today on, I will use my life to protect you. If danger approaches, I am willing to sacrifice everything for you." From afar, Norn watched silently, her face filled with satisfaction as she saw my firm growth. However, her face darkened when she saw two of the summoned heroes, their swords dripping with blood. And in Sidonia, Elizabeth stood beside the king and declared, "The heroes are now ready for battle." The king's eyes lit up with enthusiasm as he spoke to them. "Prepare yourselves, heroes. I place the fate of our kingdom in your hands." We then shifted to the kingdom of Barca, to which the city of Bolton belonged. There, a representative from the kingdom of Sidonia demanded I be handed over, me who possessed the power of light magic. "We want that boy," he declared, "who used his magic to cleanse your commoners and made your city free of illness." The power of light magic he used was not his own. It was bestowed by the Magic King in our temple. But the king of the kingdom of Barca firmly refused to hand me over or provide any information about me. The envoy from Sidonia became furious. "Then we will withdraw all our mages from your land and send them back to their homeland," he said angrily. Meanwhile, I sat with Pepek, who said to me, "You will come with me to meet the king of Barcola. And since I am a businessman who never misses an opportunity, I want you to craft a bow and a quiver for me. We will bring them as gifts, and perhaps receive something valuable in return." I discussed this matter with Sophia and Maria. I cannot refuse this visit. After all, the king sheltered me from Sidonia and refused to reveal my secret. But before leaving, I asked Pepek to collect dark magic stones for me. I will use them to craft cloaks for them. The cloaks will hide and protect them on their journey. Then, Maria and Sophia went shopping to prepare food for the journey. When they left, Maria noticed Sophia couldn't stop talking about me, about how I risked it all for them and cared so deeply. In that moment, Maria realized the truth. Sophia's heart had completely fallen for me. At the temple, I went to see Norn, the goddess who summoned me to this world. She appeared before me and teased, "Are you visiting me empty-handed? No gifts?" I smiled slightly. "Next time, I promise I'll bring you whatever you want. But tell me, What exactly does Sidonia want from me? And what about the heroes who have been summoned? Norn replied calmly. I intervened and summoned you a year earlier than them. My eyes widened. They haven't arrived in this world yet? A few more months, she replied. Then why summon me before them? I pressed with a mysterious smile. She said, You don't need to ask so much. You'll understand later. But next time, don't dare to come without gifts. When I woke up after the illusion, I was confused because she refused to explain further. However, I told myself, everything will become clear. And honestly, I don't intend to meet those heroes. Regardless, back home, I finished crafting elegant cloaks. Their purpose was simple, to conceal our presence and protect us from annoyance when we arrived at the kingdom. I'm thinking of building a carriage instead of hiring one, I said to them. But the problem is the horse to pull it. Where will we find it? Maria replied. The forest near Bolton has many monsters, and among them is the Derrick horse. They are much stronger and faster than the guild's usual horses. So the group set off into the forest to find one. I asked, Are they really faster than normal horses? Sophia nodded. They excel in speed and endurance. Their appearance is also different. A large hump protrudes from their back, and their bodies are covered in scales like a crocodile's. Kaede, the monkey, excitedly dashed forward to find a mate. Suddenly, a fierce wolf appeared before them. They prepared to fight, but surprisingly, it passed by without attacking. Why didn't it attack us? Sophia asked, confused. It's because of the cloaks you're wearing, I explained. They took off their cloaks. Instead, let's train to enhance our strength. Right after, Sophia easily took down a giant boar. Afterwards, they came across a dead Trent tree. Who left this here, they wondered, and I decided to keep it as our cart. Elsewhere, Kaede wandered off and discovered an injured Derrick horse lying on the ground. As it approached to help, the horse attacked it, but it dodged quickly. Calm down, you fool. I'm trying to help you, it yelled. Its thoughts returned to when it was an injured monkey that I had rescued and healed. But soon after, 2 giant ants appeared behind it. So, you were the ones who injured it? It shrieked, tying them up with its webs. The horse unleashed a lightning strike and destroyed them. However, in an instant, a swarm of giant ants surrounded it. Kaede quickly created a spiderweb fence, shielding herself and the horse. My master is coming. Don't be afraid, it screamed. But the ants ignored the webs, gnawing at them. Fatigue weighed down on its body. Doubt crept into its heart. He's forgotten me, abandoned me. This is the end. Then suddenly, I appeared beside it, gently placing a hand on it. Sorry for being late. Tears welled up on Kaede's face as it sobbed. You've come. You've really come to save me. We felt your mana suddenly disappear, I explained. So we followed the trail straight to you. It turned to the horse. Please save it. It's dying. I stepped forward to heal it, but the animal pushed me away, unwilling to trust. Sophia sensed danger approaching. Stronger monsters are coming. We have to leave immediately. So I transferred Kaede and the horse into my dimensional space, but containing such a powerful creature there quickly depleted my mana. I fell, unconscious on the spot. Although they tried every method, I still couldn't wake up. At that time, Sophia took my hand and said to Kaede, The horse is drawing on his strength because it doesn't trust him. Create a gentle net barrier. Make it feel safe. When he wakes up, he'll be able to heal it. When I finally opened my eyes, I saw Sophia sleeping beside me, still holding my hand tightly. Gathering her strength, I released them from the dimensional space and approached the horse once more. Calm down, Kaede urged. This is my master. Just as he healed us before, he will heal you too. First, I used taming magic to connect with the beast. When its heart was pacified, I cast a quick healing spell on it. The wound stopped, a scar disappeared, and the horse stood up straight again, fully regaining its strength. Smiling, I said, From now on, your name will be Camellia. And so, the mighty Derrick the horse joined us as the newest member of the group. After that, the scene shifted to one of the mercenary companies, where a young girl named Rava introduced herself to a new employer, hoping to be hired as an assistant. But when he asked if she could use any magic spells, she admitted she was still learning. Disappointed, he left. He had no intention of training anyone, and he needed someone who was already proficient. Rava shook her head, distressed, but the company president tried to comfort her. Don't be sad. One day, someone will truly need you. She returned to her room with tears in her eyes. There, we learned that she had left her mother and younger brother behind to look for work. Before leaving, she had asked her brother to take care of their mother, promising, "I will send you a lot of money." On the other side, I had just finished building my magical bathhouse and plumbing. This time I decided to build a carriage for myself. And I asked the blacksmith Dambo to forge new horseshoes for my companion Camellia. While on my way to the guild hall, I overheard an adventurer talking to the guildmaster about a strange creature discovered in the forest. A rough sketch was presented, but no one could identify the creature. When they turned to me and asked why I was there, I replied casually, "I'm here to register my pet horse." As soon as I summoned Camellia, everyone fell silent. The monster I summoned was standing right in front of them. Shock and anger were evident on the guildmaster's face, which made him attack me. Meanwhile, at the market, Maria and Sophia were worried. "We can't let Takumi work alone every day. He'll collapse if he continues like this." When they visited Dambo's workshop, they found me collapsing from exhaustion, the blacksmith explained. He stayed up all night, pouring his heart into that cart. Finally, I finished it. Overjoyed, I called Kaede and Camellia to prepare for a test run. Unexpectedly, Maria and Sophia emerged from inside the cart. To my astonishment, it wasn't just a vehicle. Inside, it was a fully furnished house. Thanks to my space-expanding magic, Camellia pulled the cart at an incredible speed, its magical power increasing as it ran. Maria waved her hand excitedly. "Why don't we add some magic lanterns around the cart? It'll look much cooler." As usual, the merchant Papek appeared just in time, his eyes sparkling. "I want one just like this. Name your price. I'll pay it." Even the city lord was impressed. "I'll give you 100 gold coins for one," I quickly calculated. 100 gold coins were equivalent to an entire yen. Their journey to the royal capital began. Along the way, the city lord warned me that I had become famous, and that made me a target. "We must protect you well, especially from the Sidonia Empire. They won't leave you alone." Strangely, no monsters crossed their path. The reason was Maria, Kaede, and Camellia had cleared them all out. The adventurers of the Four-Fang team were bewildered. They didn't leave us anything to do. Going with them is meaningless. Upon arrival, I was informed that I would meet the king in 5 days. During that time, I was contemplating with Sophia and Maria, who gently scolded me. "You've been working too hard. If you continue like this, you'll die. You need someone to help with alchemy and magic crafting." So I went to the attendant's office. "I am looking for someone with magic abilities to assist me with alchemy." Outside, Sophia and Maria wandered in the garden. They couldn't find Kaede, who had quietly slipped away. There, Sophia happened to meet Rava, who was curled up on the ground, afraid of the spider. Sophia hurried to the girl, returning the magic book that had fallen from her hand. Upon closer inspection, I realized the book was related to alchemy. Afterwards, I met Rava myself. "Do you know anything about alchemy?" I asked. The girl's eyes lit up immediately. "Yes, I like it very much." But at the same time, the girl trembled. Afraid of being rejected again, Sophia stepped in. "The book the girl is carrying is about alchemy." I examined it, astonished, and took out a piece of paper with a magic formula. "Do you know what this is?" Rava glanced at it. "It's a magic circle for making candy," the girl replied. But as she tried to decipher the formula, she failed and bowed her head. "I'm sorry. I can't figure it out." Smiling gently, I said, "It's enough that you recognized it as a magic circle. That alone is proof. I will sign a contract with you. From now on, you are part of my team. I will teach you everything." Worried but delighted, Rava followed me and was introduced to my companions, although the girl was clearly intimidated by them. Far away in Sidonia, the king was furious. "We will make Barca pay for refusing to surrender to Kumi," but his daughter intervened. "Wait a moment, father. Let the heroes be summoned to complete their training first." The next day, I was busy crafting another carriage, this time for the king. Rava watched in amazement, her heart pounding as she saw how I worked with the magic tools and rare materials. "One day, I will be just like him," she whispered to herself as the carriage was completed. I stood waiting. The Duke of Barca approached, surprised. "What a wonderful carriage." "Yes," I said proudly. "I made it for the king." A voice replied, calm but firm. "Your skills far surpass anything I've heard." I froze. The man before me was none other than the king. I didn't even recognize him until Papek and the city governor bowed their heads. Astonished, I thought. The king has come here to meet me without summoning me to his palace. The king smiled warmly. I dislike excessive formalities. I wish to meet the alchemist Takumi in person. Then, with a smile, he gave me a generous reward for the magic tools that had cleansed the city's drain system. After I left, the king gathered his retainers and spoke in a solemn voice. All information you know about Takumi must be kept absolutely secret. The more famous he becomes, the greater the danger will be. At that time, I finally bought the mansion I had rented from Pepek, paying its full price. Then our attention shifted to the Sudonia Kingdom, where the kingdom's envoys had succeeded in stealing the purification tools I had used to clean the city's drains. Clearly, the Church of Light was behind this. They were very angry. Someone had stolen their livelihood without giving them a single coin. And when they discovered the culprit resided in Bolton City, they began to devise a revenge plan against the one who had stolen their profits. Meanwhile, I accompanied Rava to the guild to register her as a member of my group. The guild clerk asked me, "Haven't you decided on a name for your team yet?" I frowned and replied, "Are you the group that calls yourselves the Four Fangs?" I made it clear that I wasn't really interested in the battle, as my true goal was to follow the path of an alchemist. Just then, the guild leader appeared, clearly displeased, and insisted I choose. "You must choose a name for your group, especially when your group is considered one of the strongest in this guild." He beat me mercilessly, tossed me around, and forced me to undergo rigorous training until my body hardened and my spirit couldn't take it anymore. Only then did he ask me to choose a suitable name. However, as an alchemist who spends most of my time creating potions and plumbing systems, I, half dead and half crippled, decided to name my team Water Faucet, or Toilet Bowl. I returned to the campsite, barely able to stand. When Sophia saw me in that state, anger flared in her eyes. She even resolved to kill the guildmaster for daring to lay a hand on me. The scene then returns to Sudonia, where the summoned heroes have become so strong that they surpass their master. But the third adventurer, Akane, notices with unease that the boys have become arrogant, intoxicated by their strength. Confused by their sudden change, she decides to study the history of Sudonia, hoping to discover the reason for their transformation. Back in Bolton, I gave Rava a magic ring, just as I had given Sophia and Maria. "This will help you control your magic," I told her with a playful smile. I even created a magic wand for her, carved from the wood of the Trent tree. Then, I returned to the brutal training camp, under the guidance of the guildmaster, who never held back. "You must strengthen your body," the guildmaster roared. "You've shed your weak points, and you must also choose a name worthy of your group." When I arrived at the guild hall once more, the attendant approached me. "What do you think of a new support mission? The trip will take about 4 days." I sighed. "Am I the only one free to take on a support mission?" "Send Tooth Fairy." But they told me that the other group had already taken another mission. Therefore, I set off to accept the mission, accompanied by a companion whose destination is the city of Kel, a place famous for its cheese. My heart leaped with joy upon hearing that. Cheese, a delicacy I savored in my old world, also exists here. On the way, they encountered a battle. A group of goblins were clashing with wild wolves. But before either side could gain the upper hand, Kamalia, my mighty horse, unleashed a thunderous charge that swept them all away in an instant. When I finally arrived at Kelbos, I tried the cheese I had craved for so long. However, my appetite was not satisfied. I longed for grains and fish. To my delight, Sophia informed me that grains could be found in Bolton. "In that case," I mused, "I truly don't need to return to my old world. Everything I desire is here." Turning to Sophia, I gently asked, "Do you ever miss your old world?" Sophia shook her head, her eyes glistening. "I have no intention of going back. I'm happy living by your side. I was like a bird trapped in a cage, and now the cage has been opened, allowing me to fly into this new world." Touched by her words, I gave a faint smile. As our conversation touched upon birds and wings, I declared, "Then I shall name our group the Wings, but not only that, I will attach it with the name of Norn, the sorceress who summoned me here. From now on, we are Norn's Wings." 2 days after we returned to Bolton and my manor, as soon as I stepped inside, a sense of unease washed over me, as if something unusual was lurking in the air. Suddenly, a paralyzing gas spread throughout every corner of the house. 2 masked figures appeared, subdued Sophia and Maria, and captured them. One of the masked figures lunged at me, intending to kill me. But before he could strike, the spider Kade lunged forward, attacking his arm and disarming him. Without hesitation, I punched the man in the stomach, sending him sprawling to the ground. The second attacker rushed towards me in an attempt to end me, but I grabbed him and performed a powerful throw, slamming him to the floor. Wasting no time, I uttered a healing incantation, mending the wounds of everyone present. Sophia, her face clouded with regret, bowed her head and apologized. I wasn't perceptive enough. I should have realized sooner. Everyone was shocked. How could I not gag after ingesting poison? I calmly replied. Both Kaede and I have immunity to toxins. Just then, the guildmaster arrived, his voice grave. We must report this to the Duke. Clearly, there are those who do not wish for you to be left in peace. I went to meet Duke Bolton, and there I learned the truth. The masked individuals were agents of the Church of Light, under the command of Emperor Sudonia. What was even more disturbing was that their target was not theft, but assassination. The Church had once monopolized the purification of the spirit vein with their rituals, profiting greatly from it. When my purification devices replaced their services, it cut off their immense source of income. They were enraged and therefore determined to end my life. What should I do now? I asked earnestly. Should I flee and hide in another country? But the Duke reassured me. Stay in Bolton, we will protect you. On my way back to the guild, my mind was heavy. I worried about Sophia, Maria, and Rava. I've put their lives in danger. If they stay with me any longer, they might die. When I reached the guild, I officially registered my party, the Wing of Norn. Returning home, I gathered my companions. We must find a way to protect this place, I declared. And so that night, I began preparing a complex magical barrier, a spell that would prevent any intruders from entering. By the next day, the mansion would be completely secure. The next morning, I asked Sophia and Rava to help me carve magical runes onto metal plates so I could place them around the land and activate the barrier. While they were busy carving, Kaede and Shamelia got into a fight with a golem I had created. However, that golem was incomplete. My control magic was still too weak to properly handle it. After the runes were finished, I fused them together, forming a powerful incantation that I placed around the house to protect it. Afterward, I tried to improve the golem and turn it into a guardian for the land, but my efforts failed once again due to the insufficient control magic. That's when Sophia sat beside me and said, "In a faraway forest there is a magical labyrinth. Inside it there is a fierce golem. If you can defeat it, you can tame it." Determined, I set out with the girls. When they arrived at the labyrinth, a colossal golem appeared before them, its chest glowing with a radiant core. Sophia said solemnly, "If you intend to fight it, you'll need to destroy that core." But I shook my head. I don't want to kill it. I want to tame it. I stepped forward calmly and without hesitation. Sophia rushed to protect me, but I held her back. Wait, it has no intention of attacking you. You can sense it. A strange connection was forged between me and the colossal golem. Then I realized the magical energy of Norn was hidden within this creature. With determination, I cast a taming spell, and quite easily it worked. However, there was still one problem. How do we get such a colossal creature back to town? They wondered. Just then, the golem began to shrink, shrinking to a size small enough to accompany us. Back at my workshop, I crafted special armor for my new companion, naming it Titan. With the armor, Titan's power increased drastically, and for the first time, it could even speak. Furthermore, I designed a colossal suit of armor that allowed Titan to fuse with it, doubling its size and strength. Then, I gathered the girls again. I have decided to free all of you from our contract. Your lives are in danger by being with me. You have helped me a lot, but I can't live peacefully if any of you get hurt or killed because of me. Silence ensued. Then, one by one, they refused. Each of them had given me their heart, and no one wanted to leave me. Meanwhile, Titan proudly shone in his new armor, delighted with his newfound strength and voice. Far away, Norn silently watched me. Her handmaidens approached, their voices full of worry. "Madam, I sense a dark soul beginning to emerge. I fear a great war is about to begin." Elsewhere. In a poor village under Bolton's rule, despair was spreading. The lords had burdened the people with insurmountable debts, then fled, leaving devastation behind. With no other choice, the villagers prepared to sell their homes and leave. When the news reached Lord Bolton, he vowed to help them, but where could they go? All that remained was a land overrun by monsters. And so, once again, they turned to me. At that time, I was preparing for my first dungeon challenge, since officially registering with the Adventurers Guild. The girls and I entered a vast forest, teeming with monsters. They fought relentlessly, felling every beast in their path. Though the towering trees obscured their vision, Kaede climbed high to scout ahead, leading them towards each enemy. Together, they felled every beast they encountered, clearing a path deeper inside until they reached the path leading to the dungeon's master. The corridor was filled with traps. When I accidentally triggered one, a giant boulder rolled towards them. "Run!" they screamed, sprinting desperately until they tumbled into a side tunnel, narrowly escaping death. Finally, they reached the dungeon's master, a colossal S-class dragon. Its presence was overwhelming. They split up, each moving in different directions to distract it. I called Kaide and Titan. "Take down that beast. Hold it still." With all their might, they restrained it. While I and the others launched a combined assault with our magic rings and weapons, the dragon roared in fury, unwilling to fall. With a mighty swing, it attacked Titan, sending the giant flying. "Its weak spot! It's on its wing!" Sophia shrieked, summoning Camellia. I ordered my horse to charge. With a lightning strike, it attacked the dragon's wing. I seized the opportunity, rushing forward. But the dragon's mouth erupted with heat. It was about to unleash a devastating fireball. Then, an idea struck me. I channeled mana into my sword, electrifying it and thrust it straight into the dragon's mouth. The fireball detonated within its throat, shredding the monster from the inside. The beast finally fell, and a glittering treasure hoard appeared before them. Amidst the spoils of victory, I discovered a rare gem, a material that could power countless alchemical wonders. When they returned, Godwin, the city's lord, summoned me. "Can you use your earth magic to prepare barren land for the incoming refugees? It's desolate, without resources. If they settle there as is, they will live in hardship." I accepted without hesitation. Soon after, when the refugees arrived, they were astonished to see towering walls already surrounding the land. I erected them with my magic, a fortress to shield their new homes from the horrors lurking outside. I then met them and explained. "I built these walls to protect everyone from monsters. This place is now fully prepared, equipped with everything you could need. Even the guards have large barracks to stay in." The new settlement was so well prepared that the people from Bolton began to envy its residents. Many even had their homes destroyed so they could move to the city I had built. At that time, Sophia met a young woman from the village who had arrived alone after losing her husband. Sophia gently said to her, "It will be very difficult for you to support yourself. If you have any other skills, we can employ you elsewhere. I will speak to my employer for you." The woman replied that the owner of her was none other than myself, the man who built this entire city. Therefore, Sophia brought her to meet me. "Her name is Mani." I said, "I need someone who can oversee everything here." But Mani, who had fallen into despair after her loss, refused my offer. Not only that, she decided to leave the village entirely, wandering into the forest alone. It was then that reports reached me. A monster was gathering strength and preparing to attack the city. The city gates were quickly sealed and everyone prepared for battle. The problem was, Mani, upon her return, found the gates already closed. She was trapped outside. I soon heard from the villagers that Mani had disappeared. In the forest, 2 wolves were approaching her. At the last moment, I rushed out, grabbed her, and pulled her to safety with a quick swing. I knocked out the 2 beasts with a single blow. "Honestly, you foolish girl," I scolded. "Didn't I tell you to stay here?" Mani could only look at me with wide, shining eyes. "This is the real hero I've been looking for," she thought, filled with admiration. She tearfully apologized for not listening and for leaving the safety of the city. Meanwhile, in the kingdom of Sudonia, the court was in turmoil. News had spread of a newly fortified city rising near the Barca border, complete with defenses and infrastructure. The king was furious upon learning it was built by someone from Bolton, and his suspicions immediately turned to the alchemist Takumi. In his fury, the princess stepped in to calm him. "Don't worry, father. Everything is under control. The summoning ritual is almost complete." Unexpectedly, the ritual's magic energy spread throughout the land in an overwhelming wave, so powerful that even I and all my companions could feel it. I froze as I recalled Norn's words. "I interfered with time and summoned you a year ahead of others." I realized that a full year had passed since I arrived in this world in Sidonia. Elizabeth welcomes the newly summoned heroes. At the same time, Norn watches them from afar, her eyes full of unease. Her lady-in-waiting remarks in disbelief. "They've reached rank A in such a short time," she mouths to Norn. She could feel it. These heroes are preparing for something tragic. The heroes themselves gathered before Elizabeth. She smiles proudly at them. "Now, you are ready. It's time the world sees your power." Their eyes sparkled with excitement. "Don't worry, Elizabeth. We will raise Sudonia's banner high, and the world will know who the true heroes are." When they asked if Akane would accompany them, she smiled cheerfully and agreed, hiding her own doubts. "If I refuse, they will suspect me," she thought. Back in the settlement I built on the Bolton border, life flourished. The villagers were blacksmiths, artisans, and farmers. The town was bustling with energy, and my heart overflowed with pride watching them thrive. In the forest, Sophia trained intensely, defeating one monster after another. It was then that Kaede, the spider, sensed something unusual. It hurried to my side. "A strange monster appeared while you were training," it reported. "It looked like a lizard, and a creature like that should never exist in this forest. This is the first time I've seen it." They tried to find out why monsters that didn't belong there were appearing. The only clue was the surge of strange magical energy that they had all felt 3 months ago. I clenched my fist. Norn's words are the truth. This has something to do with the heroes. Summoning. Worry gnawed at me as I wondered exactly what these summoned heroes were planning. That night, a royal guard arrived, summoning me for a new mission. "There are rumors," the guard said, "that a group of heroes has appeared in Sudonia." I nodded grimly. "It must have been 3 months ago." The guard blinked in surprise. "How did you know?" Sophia stepped forward. "Because of the increase in mana that we all felt at that time." That night, I lay down, yearning, looking up at the ceiling. May these heroes come for good, not for evil. At the court of Sudonia, the king sternly said to the heroes, "I entrust the glory of Sudonia to you. Let the world know that we are the mightiest kingdom." Akira and Yamato grinned widely, full of enthusiasm. When they left, they noticed Akane following with her attendant. They tried to refuse her company, but Akane was insistent. "She is my personal attendant. Wherever I go, she goes." After that, I arrived at the guild. There, Hans explained in detail. "These are the heroes who appeared in Sudonia," he said, providing a description. Then, he assigned me my mission. It is a delivery mission. Popek specifically requested that Norn's Red Wing team handle it. Afterward, we see me at home preparing for a new mission. Mani approached me, asking if she could come along. However, I was worried about her safety. Mani continued to plead with me, insisting that she possessed earth magic and would surely be useful, begging me not to leave her behind. I, with a soft heart that could never easily refuse, finally told her that first we needed to register both her and Rava at the guild, and then I would consider taking her along on future missions. On the other side, in the carriage carrying Sudonia's summoned heroes, the atmosphere was not comfortable at all. The carriage shook violently with no brakes or suspension system to smooth the ride. The heroes complained loudly, saying they had heard the Kingdom of Barca had vehicles with anti-shock and suspension capabilities, and that they should seize one. Their conversation then shifted to the many elf slaves living in Barca. It's clear that Akira and Yamato have a disturbing obsession with elves, deciding that they would capture the elf slaves and keep them as personal attendants. Listening silently, Akane felt extremely uneasy, wondering who could prevent the calamities that Akira and Yamato would bring to the world. Meanwhile, I arrived at the guild hall to register Mani and Rava. Unexpectedly, loud shouts and screams echoed from inside. I quickly realized that Akira and Yamato had arrived, and their intentions were clearly malicious. As a guild member tried to calm them down, Akira punched him hard in the stomach, causing him to collapse to the ground. Then, the two arrogantly declared, "No one here is on our level. You'd best obey our commands if you don't want trouble." Their gaze then fell upon Mani and Sophia, and the heroes immediately showed interest in them. They demanded I hand over the two girls, but I flatly refused. "They are not for sale. Get out of this guild hall at once. I don't want any trouble." "How dare you defy us? Don't you know who we are?" Akira and Yamato yelled, ordering Mani and Sophia to come with them. The two women looked at each other in dismay and refused. I gave the heroes a final warning to leave. Enraged, Akira lunged at me with his sword, but I dodged his attack, used disintegration magic, and shattered the sword immediately. Yamato then tried to throw a powerful punch, but I caught his arm and performed a technique that slammed him to the ground. Akane, watching nearby, was stunned by my immense power. Akira, equally shocked, couldn't understand why his sword, supposedly a sacred sword, had been broken. The two heroes stood up, quivering with rage. "We are the summoned heroes of Sudonia. What you've done will not go unpunished." As they finally stormed outside, Akane rushed to my side, apologizing. She introduced herself, but immediately sensed something unusual about me. I didn't feel like a person from this world, I quickly motioned for her to be quiet and told her, "We'll talk later," and gave her my home address. That night, Akane and her attendant slipped away from their escorts and hurried to the location I had given. Sophia stopped the guards, knocked them down, and safely brought Akane and her retainers to me. When Akane sat with me, she revealed, "The exotic talent I possess tells me you are not of this world." I looked her straight in the eye and replied, "That's right, I'm just like you. I was summoned to this world." The girls around me gasped in amazement. They had just learned that I, like the heroes of Cydonia, was also summoned. I continued, "I will tell you everything, but you must never tell anyone about this." Everyone then learned the truth. The legendary goddess Norn herself had summoned me to this world. Although everyone spoke of her as a divine ruler, no one had ever seen her. All of my power was revealed to be a gift from her. I further explained, "Norn brought me here to counter the catastrophe the Cyldonian Empire plans to cause." Akane then confided in me, "Akira and Yamato are preparing to wage war against the Cyldonian Empire's neighboring cities." I shook my head. "They are not strong enough to wage war on their own," but Akane explained, "They were quite fine when they first arrived, but I'm sure something was mixed into their food. Something that changed their disposition. I always use purification magic and holy light on my food, which is why I was not affected." Finally, Akane moved closer to me. "Please, Takumi, protect me and my retainers. I will do anything in return, but please keep me safe." As a kind man, I agreed. However, right after that, Akane asked her retainer Lulu to leave, not wanting to endanger her. I used my magic to free Lulu from her retainer contract. But Lulu clung to Akane, declaring, "I want to be with you forever because I love you." And later, when Akane ate with me and the others, she stared intently at the food in horror. This is Japanese food, just like in our world." We then returned to the city I built, where one of the guards noticed a large number of monsters gathering, preparing to attack. At that moment, I gathered the girls and said to them, "We don't need any contracts binding you to me anymore." The girls became sad, thinking I was going to abandon them once more, but I quickly shook my head. "On the contrary, I have no intention of abandoning you. I just want to dissolve those contracts because I want you by my side, not as subordinates but as friends." The moment the contracts disappeared, their faces lit up with joy. But suddenly a message arrived. I was urgently summoned to the guild and had to leave immediately. Rushing to the guild, I met the guild leader and learned that monsters had attacked a new city I had established. Unfortunately, only 3 groups could handle it. They were my Norn's wing unit, the Nine Tails, and a third group composed entirely of female adventurers known as the Crimson Lotuses, who seemed quite familiar with the Nine Tails. I quickly gathered my companions, so Akane and her followers were under the protection of the giant golem titan. Before departing, I forged special swords from the rare magic stones we had found in the previous dungeon. I gave one sword to Sophia, kept one for myself, and the group immediately set off towards the city. On the way, I tried to reassure everyone. The walls are very high. The monsters cannot climb over, but their relief was short-lived when swarms of monsters suddenly attacked from above. Jumping off the vehicle, they fought fiercely, taking down one beast after another without stopping. When the guard saw me and my group arrive, he immediately opened the gate for them. Together, they fought all night, taking down wave after wave of these creatures until the dawn finally broke. The townspeople rejoiced greatly. I arrived just in time to protect them. Without wasting a moment, I began to treat the injured. But before I could finish, cries of emergency rang out again. The monster horde retreated. Everyone was bewildered. The movement of the horde was so organized it was almost as if someone was commanding them. One of the guards explained that this had been happening for some time. The monsters would attack, then suddenly retreat, only to return the next day. I frowned deeply. The only explanation was that a hidden leader was somewhere in the forest, directing their every move. And what made them most uneasy was the timing. These attacks had begun about 3 months ago, right when that strange mana flow swept through the land, heralding the summoning of heroes to Cydonia. The leader of the Scarlet Lily turned to me. Her voice was solemn. "The battle against the forest monsters will not be easy. This is not an ordinary threat." Meanwhile, in the kingdom of Cydonia, news reached the king that monsters were ravaging, attacking villages around Barca. Instead of raising the alarm, he smirked with satisfaction. Our daughter stepped forward, her eyes shining with ambition. "We must seize this opportunity. While Barca is busy fighting monsters, we should attack the surrounding villages and burn them all." The king nodded. finding her plan excellent in its wickedness. And so, we devised a truly wicked plan, sending the summoned heroes to the towns bordering Barca to eliminate them. Returning to the city once more, I used the healing magic I had created, taking care of every villager without missing a single sick or tired person. This time, I was determined to gather my companions and venture into the forest myself, determined to find the leader controlling the monster horde. And so, they set off, only to face the creatures prepared to attack. Another fierce battle ensued between the heroes and the monster horde. Swords clashed, magic erupted, and roars echoed throughout the space. Sophia charged forward, trying to take them all down by herself. But just like before, the monster horde suddenly began to retreat back into the forest. Then, a strange and terrifying roar echoed through the forest. Their eyes widened in horror as a giant lizard-like creature appeared, swallowing the entire retreating monster horde. This is clearly the leader. The giant lizard lumbered closer, its body swelling with every creature it swallowed. As it lunged at Sophia, spewing venom, she narrowly escaped, but with a swipe of its massive tail, it knocked her down, and the monstrous beast loomed over her, ready to crush her. At the last second, I lunged, scooped her up, and ran. If Titan were here, this battle would be easier, I muttered through gritted teeth. But Sophia had escaped my grasp, refusing to back down. She threw herself back into the fray, attacking with all her might. However, her attacks left barely a scratch. The beast retaliated brutally, sweeping her with venom. Her body stumbled, and finally she collapsed to the ground, poisoned and helpless. The lizard lunged to finish her, but the other girls jumped in, attacking together to bring the monster down. The lizard's belly swelled. Using my magic ring, I merged my strength with Sophia's, unleashing a devastating attack. I grabbed the magic sword I had given her, cutting off the beast's wings. Then, with that sword, I targeted the monster. Without a second thought, I rushed to Sophia's side, draining my depleted mana to heal her. The tension was too much. My vision blurred, and I passed out. But Sophia caught me, holding me tight as they brought me home when I woke up, and the relief of my recovery filled the room. The scene shifts elsewhere. Akira and Yamato arrived at a village near Barcola, slaughtering all the inhabitants. When the bloodshed ended, they held a macabre commemoration of their victory over the forest's monsters. Meanwhile, under the quiet night sky, I found myself speaking from the heart. I confessed my love to Sophia. Her mother supported her as she gently replied, "I want to be by your side and never leave you." The next day, they met Lord Barcola. I asked Akane to stay with them for her own safety. The commander nodded without reservation. Then, his dark face turned grim as he revealed grave news. Akira and Yamato had annihilated an entire village near Barcola. Hearing this, Akane bowed her head sadly. If I were there, I might have been able to stop them from doing such things. Immediately after, Norn summoned me again. "I know why you brought me to this world," I said firmly. "It is so that I can stand against the crimes and tragedies that the heroes summoned will cause as soon as they arrive. And I swear I will protect the people of this world because I love them dearly. And of course, I haven't forgotten the promise I made to her in our previous meeting." Norn smiled gently. "Then show me, hero. Show me your determination and how you will overcome the approaching darkness." And so concluded the first season of my story. And judging by the turn of events, the events of Season 2 promise to be truly legendary. If you are excited about what's to come, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can follow the events of Season 2 as soon as it is released. Until then, see you in the next video.